If you're building with AI, you have definitely been there. You know that moment where you're just kind of throwing prompts at a chat window, crossing your fingers and hoping for the best? Well, today we're going to explore a much more structured and frankly more powerful way to build software that goes way beyond the prompt. Let's dive in.
To really get where AI development is headed, we got to look at where we are right now. And this quote just nails it. AI is in its dial-up era. It feels a lot like the internet back in the 90s, right? It's clunky, it's unpredictable, but man, is it full of potential. We are literally in the early days, building the very foundations for whatever comes next.
So, the biggest hurdle in this dial-up era has a fantastic name: vibe coding. We've all done it. It's that feeling of just typing a vague idea into a chat window and kind of hoping the AI figures it out. And look, it's fun for quick little experiments, but it's absolutely not a sustainable way to build serious, real-world software.
In this table here, it just lays out the problem perfectly. Over on the left, you've got vibe coding. It's all about these one-shot prompts. The context disappears every time, and it's almost impossible to reproduce the same result twice. This leads to what they call misalignment. That's when the AI is working really, really fast, but in completely the wrong direction. What we're aiming for is everything on the right, a structured, repeatable process that's steered toward a very clear goal.
Developer advocate Trisha G just puts it so bluntly: vibe coding is not engineering. And she's 100% right. I mean, professional software development demands discipline, it needs structure, it needs a plan, all the things that are totally missing when you're just, well, coding on a vibe.
Okay, so if vibe coding is the problem, what's the solution? Well, it's a methodology that brings that engineering discipline back into the picture. It's called Spec-Driven Development.
So here's the absolute key. Spec-Driven Development, or SDD, is a partnership. It's a whole new way of working. Instead of just barking one-off commands at an AI, you create a structured, living document, the spec. And this spec becomes the AI's single source of truth. It's a persistent plan that guides every single step of the process.
And look, it's not as complex as it might sound. It really breaks down into 3 stages that should feel pretty familiar to any developer. First, you define the requirements. Simply, what does this thing need to do? Second, you define the design. All right, how are we actually going to build it? And finally, you create the implementation plan, a literal step-by-step to-do list for the AI to execute.
All right, so theory is great and all, but what does this actually look like when the rubber meets the road? Let's walk through this new workflow step by step.
First things first, you establish what's called a project constitution. Seriously, think of it like that. It's a set of governing principles, the rules of the game for your project. This file tells the AI everything from testing standards to performance requirements, and the AI agent refers back to this constitution for all the work it does going forward.
Now, this is where it gets really, really cool and truly collaborative. After you give the AI a feature request, it doesn't just blindly start hammering out code. No, it analyzes your request, it compares it against that constitution and the existing code, and then it comes back and asks you smart questions to clear up any gray areas.
For instance, the agent might pop up with a question just like this. It's spotted an edge case that maybe you didn't even think about. Now, your job as the developer isn't to code the answer, but to make the decision. It's this back-and-forth dialogue that prevents that dreaded misalignment we talked about earlier.
So, once you've answered its questions, the AI uses that new, clarified understanding to generate a super detailed, step-by-step implementation plan. And here's the best part. You, the human, get to review, edit, and approve this entire plan before a single new line of code is ever written. You are still in the driver's seat. So what we're really talking about here isn't using AI as some kind of magic wand. No, it's about using AI as a tool to enhance and in many ways restore those timeless fundamental principles of software engineering. And the benefits here are just huge. I mean, the spec itself becomes living documentation that's always up to date. Your team can now collaborate on the high-level plan, which is often way more important than a line-by-line code review. It also reduces your own mental load. You don't have to remember what you told the AI 3 days ago. It's all right there. And it bakes reliability in from the very beginning.
As Trisha G points out, this whole approach forces us to work in small, manageable chunks. It's so tempting with AI to just ask it to build this huge, complex thing all at once. But by breaking it down into a spec with a clear task list, we work in small batches. We review each step, and we make sure we stay on track.
And this fundamental shift leads to a really fascinating and honestly a pretty provocative question. If the AI is writing all the code based on a plan,
Well, does that make the plan, the spec, the new code?
Believe it or not, some people in the industry are already aiming for this incredibly ambitious goal, to have AI write up to 90% of the entire codebase. In that future, the human developer's primary job isn't typing out code anymore. It's about creating an incredibly high-quality, unambiguous specification to guide the AI. Our value basically moves up the stack. We're evolving from artisans who handcraft every single line of code to being architects who design the blueprint. We get to focus on the what and the why, and we let the AI handle the how.
And that brings us to our final thought for today. The job isn't going away, it's evolving. The most critical skill might no longer be writing perfect syntax, but making clear, high-level strategic decisions. Our role becomes less coder and much more decision manager. So the real question is, are you ready for that shift?